Fabulous. The 90s. That 90s guy.
That 90s
The
guy.
fabulous 90s guy.
And this is MPW Wrestling, everybody. How you doing? I am Silent J, and you are listening to Vets on Media. Check out vetsonmedia.com for all of your veteran radio listening pleasure. We have shows for everybody. This show is for the fans of the Squared Circle. We have shows with two girls talking, squawk box is what we call it. No, it's called No Limits Radio. I just got done doing Tactical 16 Radio. I also host Center Mass with Rob and Silent J. But this right here is the show of shows, my friends. This is Military Press Wrestling with my co-hosts with me now. How you guys doing? And see, hold on. I muted you guys for a second. Now I can't unmute you. Hold on. Oh, shoot. No. Can you guys hear me now? I can't hear you. Shoot. What did I do? I muted my co-host for a quick second. Now I can't unmute them.
We're back, boys!
There we go. Okay. I just muted you for the music, and then I'm like, I didn't have the power to do it back. To unmute it, I couldn't take back what I had already taken from you. Your voice.
We are back in action. And I am the professor of professional wrestling. And to the left of me is not Mr. Dedicated Mike Weiser, but this is
That fabulous 90s guy, Sean Joyce.
and he's looking fabulous in the black and white NWO t-shirt.
As always.
Now, I just wanted to let everybody know that I am not only the professor of professional wrestling, but from now on, I am the new Mr. Dedicated, because Mr. Dedicated, Mike Weiser, isn't so dedicated and doesn't show up every Wednesday. It's kind of like Brock Lesnar on Mondays, doesn't like to show up, but it's Wednesdays. We're not having it. Joe, can you look up and read this for me? What's this say? Mike's gotta go.
Gotta go.
Go. Mike Weiser, Mr. Dedicated, has got to go.
Nice. I like it. I like it a lot.
It or not, he's got to go.
4-0's got to go. 4-0. Mike's got to go.
Not having it.
No. In his place is the fabulous one.
That's right. This is the 90s guy, Sean Joyce, right here.
I like it. Now, let's talk about today, because we are going to talk about the 90s a little bit, most likely, when it comes to wrestling. But anyway, lots gone on in the world of wrestling this past week. We had SmackDown. Who watches that? No.
Not many.
We had, in honor of the pay-per-view on Sunday, that's why I played a little ECW music. We had Extreme Rules. It is the bastard step dirty redheaded child of what used to be the bastard redheaded dirty stepchild of the redheaded bastard dirty stepchild of ECW. So it's like the 17 degrees of Kevin Bacon, twice removed.
Bastards.
Yeah, so I guess you can trace Extreme Rules' lineage back to one night stand and ECW and all that, yada yada yada, so on and so forth. which we didn't even cover the pay-per-view last week because I thought it was another week to go.
I seriously did too. I guess shame on us. But I mean, I guess shame on them in reality for not making me care enough.
Yeah. I watched it up until the because I do that show on Sunday night, so I was trying to do the show but watch the pay-per-view muted, which kind of took me away from talking about politics and social issues and stuff like that while trying to watch a wrestling pay-per-view on mute.
Oh, that'll do it.
And I missed the main event because I was just like I can't do this. I can't do both at once. So I missed that. And then I tried to watch it later on in the evening on the old iPad, and I fell asleep curled up with my dog on the couch.
Didn't miss nothing.
You didn't miss very much.
Yeah. Well, that was the thing. I've tried to watch it 3 times since then. Nothing. Sorry, boys. The best match that I saw from a wrestling standpoint on that card, I would have to I would have to say Cesaro and Kid versus a New Day. I think that was
which I didn't get to catch because I was stuck at work.
And again, the best match involves Cesaro and Kid. Again, paying homage to Canada on that one. I really
great mix. They're a great mix. They really are. I like them both together a lot.
I like the the giant swing drop kick. I like that. That is a good move. Not a finishing move. It just doesn't have that it to it. I think for a tag team, finishing move. But I think it's a good setup for whatever the finishing move could be, which possibly the sharpshooter. You got the guy swung around, drop kick him, and then gives time Kid to get someone in the sharpshooter and Cesaro to clear the ring.
Yeah, and Cesaro's always been a very, very good tag team wrestler.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, with him and Chris Hero.
Absolutely, back in ROH he was.
Claudio, what was his name? Claudio. Something like Antonio Claudio or something Claudio, something like that. That was a great tag team, and then him and the deaf guy. We the People.
Jack Swagger.
Jack Swagger, yeah. He's deaf?
I did not know that.
Yeah, he's hearing impaired or something like that. That's why he talks with a lisp, and he's I think he's partially deaf. So that explains why he's never heard how shitty his promos are.
Being harsh on the poor guy.
We the people. But anyway, speaking of harsh, let's jump ahead real quick. We were talking before the show a little bit, and the little controversy that is surrounding Booker T right now with a comment made about Owen Hart, and JBL was involved. You did not hear it, Adam.
No, I did not.
They, I think him or JBL brought up Owen Hart comparing Aaron Neville to Adrian Neville, rather, to Owen Hart, and JBL goes, Neville, the man that gravity forgot. Booker T added in, well, Owen Hart didn't forget about gravity.
Oh.
Wow.
Oh,
wow. Are you kidding me?
No, I kid you not.
You say something that tasteless on WWE Raw live? Are you
in your house?
Shoot him, man.
That's unbelievable.
Live and in your house.
That's unbelievable.
It was. I'm paraphrasing.
If I watched that live, I would have went through the roof.
Well,
through the roof.
That's better than going through the turnbuckle. Sorry. The thing is, like, okay, the Owen Hart thing was a tragedy. Booker T could have played it off as, Owen Hart couldn't do the moves because they were talking about Neville being a high flyer, and I think it came in like Owen Hart was a high flyer, but that's what it was. It was like Neville's a high flyer, then someone goes Owen Hart is a high flyer too, and then JBL goes, well, Neville's the man that Gravity forgot, and then, well, Owen Hart didn't forget about it, or Gravity didn't forget about Owen Hart, or something to that effect.
That's just the WCW and Booker. The rivalry will never die.
Yeah, and he was also pissed that he was covering the King of the Ring tournament, and he is the last legitimate heir to the throne. Sorry, Sheamus. I mean, Booker T made it a whole gimmick. King Booker, Queen Charmel.
King Booker.
I mean, yeah, that line. You know what? I like blue comedy. I like that dark humor. So I saw the humor. I thought it was funny, but I mean, I don't even think that would have been good even for like if today was the Attitude Era. You know what I mean?
No.
No, I don't. No, you can't. You don't joke about death. That's crossed the lines.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I'm pretty sure I've heard a couple Sid jokes throughout the ages, and his career died, when he jumped off the top rope.
Oh man, when you watch that is that is not for the weak of heart.
Oh no. It's just as bad as like the Joe Theismann break or that dude for
here's
the college basketball player a couple years ago when the bone went right through.
That was bad.
Or the Kentucky guy.
Oh,
yeah,
Kentucky.
one of those. Somebody, I think it was in the tournament. It was it's gross. I hate leg breaks. Those are just the most disgusting things.
Here's my serious question, though. And I don't want it to seem kind of a shoot on Sid, but here's my question. What the hell were you thinking at 300 plus pounds trying to do a big boot off the top rope landing on one leg? Now, how smart does that sound? How good does that look on paper?
Well, I guess he didn't even want to do it. Yeah, he was more or less told, I think it was like one of the writers or Vince Russo, like, you're going to do this. And he's like, what? I don't come off the top rope. Like, that's not even like.
But I mean, couldn't he have done a different move? Couldn't he have done like,
Splash?
I mean, something different. A freaking clothesline for all I care.
Yeah, a shoulder tackle, a clothesline, maybe even like a missile drop kick of sorts. But he's trying. Man, he's trying to do a
seriously. I mean, even if someone was like, oh, read what we got on this, read this match move for move and see what you think. I would look at that and say, oh, I mean, this looks decent, but why are you 300? Why we got two really big heavyweights? First off, why is anyone going off the top rope? Second off, why are you gonna jump off the top rope and land on one leg? I just don't understand it.
I mean, you look at the big guys that come off the top rope in recent times: The Undertaker, Kane, even the Big Show.
Kevin Nash against the Giant and Sold Out went over the top rope. He did a dive out of the ring actually.
Yeah, but you know what? They're landing on massive amounts, of their surface area of their body, like their side or their back or their stomach or something like that.
Absolutely.
Not one foot. And, oh my God, it's just he was I thought that was a kind of a good gimmick at that point too. He was what, Team Madness?
The Millennium Man.
Oh, this is past Team Madness. This is even past the Millennium Man. This is Sid. He's feuding with Steiner, and he just can't beat Steiner.
Yeah. So
former champ. At this point, they stripped. Oh yeah, they stripped the title from him and told him you have to beat Goldberg's streak in order to, or it was like you had to beat. So he went undefeated for a year or something like that. think he went like 114-0 or something like that. And they said you had to catch the record to win, to get a title shot.
Which is it's a good thing. You think, like, not too many people are gonna could realistically beat Sid. You know what I mean? If you take size and weight and stuff like that into consideration, like Sid realistically could have like 115-0 streak, 150-0 streak. So it's not like, they told that to Billy Kidman. And
plus when you take his persona into hand, he's just the madman screaming, and like he just looks pissed off, like he's ready to just rip through an army of people.
Millennium Man.
Yeah, he was a pissed off man. I mean, when your two greatest attributes are not being able to talk and play softball, I mean, I'd be pretty damn pissed off. He was the absolute worst at a promo. Like, I like to go online and just watch Sid promos. I mean, you got the famous one. If you think I'm
half the man that you are,
half the man.
He says, if you think I'm half the man that you are, then I'm.
I got half the brain that you do.
He's like, I got half the brain that you do.
Then there was the one where he was doing a promo and he's like, stop, can we cut and redo? And me and Gene yells at, we're live.
It was at Full House.
Yeah, it was a pay-per-view. He's like, can we redo it? He's like, no, we're going live. He's like, I'm going to beat you or something like that. He just edited it.
The best is because it was Jim Ross, and he was the head of talent relations at the time. So he's like, damn it, we're live.
Yeah. There was another really good one, another fairly famous one that it was like, oh my God, really? And think about it. He was a champion he was a champ, right? He had the title for a while in the onset of the Attitude Era.
He main evented WrestleMania 13 with the belt.
Him and the Undertaker, and then you had
Undertaker beat him. The Undertaker had an accident in that match.
Really?
And Sid had an accident in that match. They actually both shit themselves.
Really?
That's legendary.
That's a true story.
I never heard that. That's gross. Could you imagine Undertaker? Could you imagine what Undertaker and Sid trip smell like?
Like, I'm pretty sure, like, Sid, it was an accident, and then I think Undertaker did it to
backstage
almost to get back at him. BSK all day.
I saw that picture you sent last night that you posted. Man, you're right. What up? That's a scary group of dudes right there. You got
Vega.
Here's my credit.
Savio Vega.
Oh yeah, Sean posted that one.
I found it.
Yeah, it was Savio Vega,
Rikishi,
the Godfather, Rikishi. I think Yokozuna, the Undertaker, and Phineas Godwin.
Yeah, Phineas Godwin, which later on was
those.
I don't know. We talked enough Godwins last week.
No, he was in the Ministry.
Oh wow.
And that was Pig. Oh no, that was Henry. Henry
Godwin.
He was in the backstage guys. The other one was Phineas. You had Pig and Hog.
Yes.
Were their initials, which is like, really? Shut up. But yeah, enough of the Godwins. We talked about them for like 3 minutes last week, and that is 2 minutes and 59 seconds too much.
Great tag team. Come on.
Too much Godwins.
They were a decent tag team, and then one guy goes to be Naked Midian. Midian? Was it Midian?
Midian.
He had the eye on his head.
Midian.
And then he went to Naked. What did you say? He saran wrap in a fanny pack or something like that?
He would come down to the ring pretty much nude. I remember he wrestled William Regal, and William Regal was like, he had a great promo opening the pay-per-view, and he's like, I refuse to lower myself and wrestle this garbage. That's what people should be saying about Roman Reigns, but
hot garbage.
Hot garbage. That's a different story.
Yeah, which we're going to get to that in due time, my friends, in due time. But there was a big thing that happened in the world of wrestling this week. One of the most legendary performers, promoters, trainers passed away Monday. Verne
Yeah.
Gagne, the founder of the AWA. He was an alternate in the 1946 or the 1948 Olympics in freestyle wrestling, and he wrestled and played football for the University of Minnesota, and then went on to be a trainer. So, I mean, yeah, legitimate badass, legitimate, athlete, and
Shooter.
yeah, and trained the likes of Vader, Ric Flair, Ricky Steamboat. I think he had a hand in working with Hulk Hogan. Some other, some other guys, and look at all the guys that went through the AWA. He founded the AWA in like 1960, I think.
Yeah.
And over a 20-year span, he had the title 10 times for over 5,000 days. So.
Oh man, and let's not forget a lot of the AWA champions that were greats, like Larry Savisco, Hulk Hogan, and Bockwinkel,
Kurt Hennig.
Henning,
and Kurt Hennig's father.
Yep. Larry the Axe Henning. But I think besides Verne Gagne, I think the greatest AWA champion of all time was Nick Bockwinkel. Yeah, the guy was just phenomenal. If you go back and watch, if anybody is an aspiring wrestler or talker, for that matter, and wants to come up as intelligent and also demeaning at the same time, Nick Bockwinkel will give you the greatest promo of all time because he uses some very large words that I have a pretty wide vocabulary, and there's some words on there that I'll even fucking Google because I don't know what the hell he's saying. But he'll bring it right down to you're not the man to beat me, and it's just like he makes it. It was so elegant in that, and he was the antagonist to Verne Gagne's protagonist for many years. And Verne Gagne, he was bald. He wasn't particularly well built, but yeah, he was the promoter and he gave himself the belt. But listen, if you had a successful promotion for years and years and years, and you're the champion, something's working,
Oh, absolutely. When Iron Sheik went against Hulk Hogan at Madison Square Garden for the WWF title in '84, yep. Verne Gagne got a hold of Iron Sheik and told him, if you break his leg, we will pretty much give you whatever the hell you want.
Yeah, and that's that was back obviously both before our times. I was alive then, but
this is time, territories, and everybody's just trying to stay alive, stay afloat, while WWE's WWF at the time is just building this monster.
Yeah, and there were some badass guys assigned to those territories. Harley Race was infamous for pulling a gun out on people. Bill Watts and what was it? UWF.
Yes.
He was notorious, I guess, for like.
Or was it the USWA?
That USWA was Tennessee. I think that was Jerry Lawler.
Yeah, that was Jerry Lawler.
Yeah, Bill Watts had UWF in Louisiana, Texas.
Jerry Lawler was also an AWA champion.
Oklahoma. Yep, yeah, and they merged USWA and AWA. Actually merged into another name for a while, and they had big mega shows in Chicago, in Milwaukee. But if you look at Verne Gagne, he is responsible for some of the best wrestling talent in the 80s and 90s. You look at the list that went through the AWA. Hulk Hogan, Gene Okerlund, Ric Flair, Ricky Steamboat, The Rockers, Vader, Rick Martel, Kurt Hennig, Scott Hall, Jerry Blackwell. Who's the Vachon? Luna Vachon's
Luna
dad?
Vachon.
Luna's father.
Yeah, Luna Vachon as well. And then what was the other Vachon? What was the dad's name?
Rick?
That one I don't know. But I, of course, remember Luna Vachon, very legendary diva, I guess you could say, female wrestler.
Yeah, I wouldn't call her a diva. And
Wrestler.
Hey, man, she was exactly. She didn't have the looks, but she got in that ring, and she was badass.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. Okay, here's a list. Adrian Adonis, Bad Company, which was Pat Tanaka and Paul Diamond, badass tag team. Red Bastion, Crusher Jerry Blackwell, Bruiser Brody, Nick Bockwinkel, Jim Brunzell. I'm just gonna go with some of the big name guys. The Destruction Crew, Mike Enos and Wayne Bloom, who was in WCW, and that Mike Enos was in the match where Scott Hall made his first appearance. Bobby Duncan Sr., the Fabulous Freebirds was part of that group. Ric Flair, Greg Gagne, Verne Gagne, Jimmy Garvin, Superstar Billy Graham, Scott Hall, Stan
Superstar!
Hansen, yeah, Hulk Hogan, Larry Hennig, Kurt Hennig. Let me see, Nikita Koloff, Jack Lanza, Jerry Lawler, the Long Riders, Jerry Lynn, Rick Martel, Wahoo McDaniel, the Ninjas, the Nasty Boys got their starts there. Oh, the Road Warriors got their start there.
Oh,
the Midnight Rockers.
I should have said that Mr. Dedicated, I'm sorry, not Mr. Dedicated, but Michael Weiser, my former tag team partner, told me to mention the Road Warriors, but I should have took credit for it, but I'm going to give it to him.
Nice. Mad Dog Vachon and Butcher Vachon.
Ooh.
Mad Dog, yes. Oh,
Vachon family?
who ripped his leg off?
Oh, I can't remember. I just remember the one. I think it was Mad Dog Vachon. He was in this feud with Jerry Blackwell. Was it?
It was a Diesel that ripped his leg off? Or was it Vader?
I think it might have been Vader.
Vader.
I think Vader ripped his leg off on Raw.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that. Well, there was one. He was talking about they had a coal miner's fight, coal miner's glove fight, and he was fighting Jerry Blackwell, which Jerry Blackwell was this big fat guy, and he had this thick French accent, and Vachon goes, "Jerry Fatwell, I'm making a coffin big enough for you," and he's got nails in his mouth, and he's spitting nails out like he's, like usually a carpenter would have a couple nails in your lip, you grab one and nail it in, grab it. He was chewing on him during his promo and just pulling a nail out of his mouth and hammering him into this casket. It's like, that's a legitimate badass. Like, this dude is chewing nails.
That's not something that I prefer to chew on in my off time, but...
Oh, here's two other big names that he was responsible for. Sherry Martel and Wendy Richter.
Sherry Martel, both of them very legendary.
But then, Paulie Dangerously started. Bobby Heenan started there. Gene Okerlund, DDP, Diamond Dallas Page started there. And one, Eric Bischoff got his start in the AWA. He was an
Mr. Color Commentary. On the mic.
That is, Ox Baker. I forgot. Not Killer Kowalski. What was the other scary dude? He was bald. Pretty Boy Bobby Heenan started there as a wrestler. Let me see. Where's that? Where's his? Superfly got to start there as well. Where is Harley Race? Ken Patera? God damn. I mean, the list goes on. It was What the hell was that dude's name? Not Killer Kowalski. What's the other dude that sounds kind of like he had the claw.
Yeah, I was thinking he had the claw because there was the old video game Legends of Wrestling, and he was on it,
Von
and I remember him. I just can't think of his name.
Borzukov got to start there. I forgot the Russians. The Russians and the Road Warriors got their start in there. Uh, Man, I can't remember that guy's name. It was something I think his initials were like KKK. Um, Killer something Khrushchev or I can't remember. The Claw Wrestling. Let's do that. The Claw Wrestling hold. Watch, I'm gonna get professional wrestlers. Baron von Raschke. That's it. Baron
Was
von
that it?
Raschke. Yeah, that's who I'm thinking of. And then when he went to the WWF, they put this stupid hood on him, and he looked like a freaking retard. But anyway, like, what do you think? Like, look, we just went over the names that came from AWA, arguably the biggest names ever. I mean, the
Well,
only names you can add in there are the later names of the Attitude Era, like like Triple H and The Rock, or Steve Austin. But you have the precursors of Rock and Wrestling Connection. You had like basically the backbone of the NWA with Ric Flair and the Koloffs in the '80s. That was huge. The Road Warriors were huge in the '80s. The Freebirds. I mean, I know they got their start down south, but I mean, I can't think of another territory that had bigger names. Um, I think they even outshined Crockett Promotions. What do you
yeah,
guys
and
think?
and that's hard to do because Crockett Promotions was huge back in the day.
Yeah, well, you'd think the guy that had the single most impactful moment in wrestling history was Scott Hall.
Absolutely.
Um, the guy behind it was Eric Bischoff. The guy that basically launched the Attitude Era, Shawn Michaels. The guy that launched rock and wrestling, Hulk Hogan. The greatest champion of all time, Ric Flair. The greatest tag team of all time, the Road Warriors. The greatest wrestler, I think, of all time, Ricky Steamboat. All came from the AWA, and that I mean, literally the best of, the best ever. The only people you're really excluding out of that is like the Macho Man, Bret
And
Hart.
those all the Canadian guys from Stampede.
Yeah, the Canadian guys. I mean, I don't think WCCW, the Von Erichs, never did anything, never had anything that the AWA put out. I've just, it's like it is. And you look at like Mid South and Crockett Promotions, their biggest things were draws from the AWA with
Yeah.
Ric Flair, the Horsemen, and the Andersons started. Arn Anderson started in AWA. I mean, I can't think of maybe. I think Verne Gagne. You could possibly say maybe top three most influential people of all time in wrestling. I mean,
Right.
if there was a top five, like what would be your Mount Rushmore? And I know it's so stupid to say something like that, but what is your guys' Mount Rushmore of professional wrestling? Not in terms of wrestlers, but the
Influence?
most impactful, the most influential. It could be a wrestler, but just like the greatest in terms of wrestling of all time, of where it is now.
Oh, okay. I'd have to go Verne Gagne, of course. Um, Stu Hart.
Hmm.
Hulk Hogan has to, and that's not even a bias thing because there's no
Yeah, no, no.
wrestling's just not what it is today without that. Vince McMahon. It's hard to say senior and then not say junior, and then it's hard to say junior and not say senior.
So the McMahons.
I'd say the McMahons. You
Yeah.
know, I guess you could throw you could split the face.
Yeah. Yeah.
uh, you know something? I would truly throw Dusty Rhodes in there.
Fair enough to say.
Just because he's had such an impact on, you know, he hasn't just been an influence, you know, wrestlers watching what he's done, but he has made Great American Bash. He made Halloween Havoc. He made
World War III. I mean, the War Games.
the War Games. He came up with Starcade. You know, that's a big thing.
And he was a booker. You know, the booker, I think, you know, for some of the best parts of NWA/WCW.
Absolutely. If you ever heard the story of Paul Heyman breaking into the production meeting, and Dusty Rhodes walks up to him and says, "What are you doing here, boy?" And he's like, "You know, I'm here to learn from you." And he said, "You came to learn from the best, Daddy."
That is true. I like Ms. Dow next to you. Joe, what do you think? What would your your most influential? Right, and it's hard to, you know.
Yeah, no, my top five. I'm going to start off from a wrestling standpoint. From a heel standpoint, Gorgeous George started the game. So from a wrestling standpoint, Gorgeous George.
Great point.
Without Ric Flair, we probably wouldn't have a good amount of the last 25 years. So Nature Boy. The McMahons, just for the corporate building we have today.
Mm-hmm.
I had a tough one with 4, but I'm gonna say Verne Gagne for everything we have. It wouldn't be what we have.
Yeah.
Last one is bias. Oh well. Paul Heyman for the 90s and into the 1000s. So.
And I'm going to tell you something. I was going to say Paul Heyman, but I wasn't going to take it from Sean because I knew Sean had that one waiting for, because I just know Sean. And that's an underrated one that I would say really you could put him, or, you could probably take a few other guys from the ECW team to put on there. But Paul Heyman, that is definitely one that I would throw up there.
And I would have to go. You know, I'm going to be borrowing from both of you. Mine's going to be promoter heavy, but I didn't.
Yeah, that's what I was doing for mine because we were going off of Verne Gagne.
I didn't even think about Gorgeous George, which is huge because he was the first guy with entrance music. I think he was the first guy with a valet. He was the first guy that did hair, the robe, everything. He was the first character in wrestling. That was huge, especially for that time. You got a dude wearing perfume and shit in the 40s, 50s, whatever it was. I mean, that's insane. I think that's hard to beat. But I'm gonna go with the McMahons. With Paul Heyman. He revolutionized aspects of it. I mean, I think he made wrestling enjoyable for drunk adults. That
absolutely. But there are a lot of spots that we don't have without Paul Heyman, like Undertaker going through the ring. Just certain things.
A lot of WWFE's success was mimicking ECW to a degree.
And WCW was stealing their talent.
Yep. I mean, you could think up until that point, everything was borrowed from each other. You had the Great American, versus the evil foreigner. You had the cocky heel, versus, the All-American boy. So we had Hulk Hogan versus the Iron Sheik versus Ric Flair versus,
Dusty Rhodes.
Sting. Dusty Rhodes many times over. Those were all recycled in a way, whereas the common man, Dusty Rhodes, was the common man Bruno Sammartino, the common man Bob Backlund. So there was a lot of borrowing.
Buddy Rogers.
Flair.
Yeah, and look, Buddy Rogers, you could say patting his look off of Gorgeous George, who Ric Flair borrowed from those guys, which you can obviously tell that quite a few guys borrowed from Ric Flair. So,
You know, in reality, it's so hard to come up with something original.
well, that's the thing, and that's I think the importance of er, Paul Heyman, because a lot of his stuff was original. Who threw down belts? Nobody threw down belts at that time.
Oh,
I mean,
right, absolutely.
even when Ric Flair brought the big gold belt to WWF,
Which was still huge.
Which was huge, he never desecrated the belt.
Don't do it.
He had the belt because it meant so much to him, or he would have left it in WCW. Whereas Paul Heyman was the first to do that. Paul Heyman was the first to do a lot of stuff, I think, out of necessity, which was amazing for the viewer. So I would put, the McMahons, Paul Heyman. I would have to say Eric Bischoff, to a large degree, because I think he changed business. It wasn't so much he was like, the guy, he borrowed the NWO from New Japan. And a lot of guys, when he was in AWA, you see a lot of those gimmicks recycled early on in WCW. He was good in the business sense of guaranteed contracts and limited work rates and stuff like that, to where he really brought out the ruthlessness of business in wrestling, which I think was a good thing,
Absolutely.
ultimately. So I got the McMahons, Bischoff, Heyman, Verne Gagne without a doubt, because he was the only one, and failed miserably, but he was really the only one that challenged McMahon in the 80s.
What did he go to? He went to 1990?
91.
Yeah, it ended in like 90, 91, somewhere around there. But
Larry
that was
Smith,
huge.
last champ, correct?
Yeah, I think so. Maybe a little bit more, maybe 92, 93, somewhere around there. But I remember they had the first real big cable deal. They were on ESPN.
Which I actually grew up watching AWA on ESPN Classics when I was like 8.
Showboat Showroom Casino in beautiful Las Vegas. And,
Yes.
they're just like in the ceilings like 10 feet high. So it's like, yeah, AWA on ESPN was like, it was so awesome. I remember I'd go to someone's house that had like cable at times, and they're like, oh, wrestling's on ESPN, and I'd watch like, oh, the was something Coyote with Scott Hall, Coyote Starship, whatever.
Yeah, he was huge.
Yeah, giant.
Handlebar mustache.
He was real
Yep.
big, man.
And so Verne Gagne, the first big super show from I think Wrigley Field.
Yeah.
First big promotional thing when they had the USWA versus AWA, and they had the unified title. I think it was, I forgot who it was that fought Jerry Lawler and unified the belts. He had a lot of other stuff. He was kind of ahead of his time in his way, in a way, in a lot of things. But I really think he underestimated the ruthlessness of, Vince McMahon.
Oh, McMahon's just a natural-born competitor, man.
Yeah, look at all the guys he took from. I mean, if you watch AWA in 1983, that was the WWF in 1984. Superfly, Sergeant Slaughter, Hulk Hogan, Mean Gene Okerlund, Jesse Ventura, Bobby the Brain Heenan, Nikolai Volkov, the Iron Sheik. I mean, the list goes on and on. Those were all the guys in '84 in the WWF. Verne Gagne made WrestleMania 1 and 2.
Not to mention Hulkamania actually got its start in AWA.
Well, the first Hogan and Andre the Giant match was in AWA. So, I mean, like
blue and white trunks instead of red and yellow.
Yes, with the mutton chop, Andre the Giant. with the afro, the big afro, by the way.
Hulk Hogan giving us shades of rip 'em.
Yeah. So he was when he was Thunderlips in Rambo. I mean in Rocky. He was part of the AWA,
Yeah.
not WWF. For those of you, so he was
Come
mainstream.
here, meatball.
Yeah. And then you have I think the last guy who's he? Um,
Kurt
yeah,
Hennig.
Kurt Hennig.
yeah. And Ricky Steamboat. I mean, and if you watch a lot of that Chic documentary, a lot of that stuff evolved around AWA. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, he was trained by uh, Sheik was trained by Gagne, which
Mr. Verne Gagne,
yeah. So
legend, good man.
I'm trying to think the last person I would put on my vault because I have all promoters. Shoot, that's the insulting thing. I have one spot left for like everybody else. I would have to go Hulk Hogan. With
It's hard
Bischoff.
not to.
Yeah, Bischoff, Heyman. Bischoff, Heyman, Gagne. Who else did I have on there?
McMahon's.
The McMahons, and then it's like you're gonna go with who?
Can I give you an honorable mention?
Oh yeah, you
Scott
could give me
Hall.
about 75.
Well, if I could give you a whole new wall,
I could do another one.
giving you the entire clique. How's that?
Yeah, the Clique, the original Four Horsemen.
Because the clique were the first guys to get guaranteed money.
Yep. Fuck you, Payne.
Yeah. Yeah, I could agree with you on that.
And coming out of the clique, you have the DX and the NWO. I mean, how much better does it get?
The Authority.
But yeah, and then you even look at Japan. Japan's done a lot for wrestling. Look like Giant Baba, and who was the other big promoter? You had All Japan Pro and then New Japan. One was Giant Baba. The other one was I can't remember his name. More of a muscular dude, not a big giant dude like Giant Baba.
Yeah. I can't think of the name.
Huge. Those guys were huge. That was like the Bruno Sammartino and Andre the Giant of their day in Japan, and Japan was like legendary for creating, badasses. Look at the list that went over to Japan and then came back better. Stan Hansen, Bruiser Brody, Hulk Hogan to a degree.
Mike Awesome.
Who?
Mike Awesome. Albert.
Awesome Albert. Look.
Tyson Tomko.
Bam Bam.
Yeah, Bam Bam. Vader. Vader was like kind of a nobody. Vader was made in Japan. I mean, he had the gimmick. He had the stuff. In AWA and then in Germany. He didn't become a monster until he went to Japan and actually got the Vader gimmick. It was
Goldberg had a run.
Yeah, Goldberg, Kurt Angle, Brock Lesnar. I mean, Ric Flair. Who was it? Was Andre the Giant was actually pinned cleanly. I think New Japan.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah. He was body slammed too. Hulk Hogan actually lost when he was just like beating people like for 3 years straight in America. He went over to Japan and he lost cleanly. It's like, and it wasn't a disgrace. It's like Andre the Giant didn't have to fly to Japan and lose when he was on like a 10-year winning streak. Hulk Hogan didn't have to fly to Japan to lose after winning for like 4 years straight.
And there's no internet.
Yeah, and no internet. And that's the thing. It's like even the biggest stars in America, they realize, hey, we're going over here, and this is a whole different level. I mean, the influence of wrestling to where we're at today, it could be broken down in so many ways, in like promoters, bookers, high flyers, Canadian
technicians. It's seriously. From matches to promos to charisma. I mean, I don't know. There's just so much. The list. I mean, wrestling is, it's like, you talk football. You can't just be like, who's the greatest football player of all time. You got to go down quarterbacks, linemen. You talk about
middle
it all.
linebacker, Brandon Spoon, Buffalo Bills, bitches.
51. Baldy. 51.
Yeah. And if you disagree with me, you suck. Yeah. He still rocks the Spoon jerseys to the Bills games.
Best middle linebacker of all time would be Tammy's baby boy.
Yeah. He couldn't tackle Bo Jackson from Super Tecmo Bowl. I can tell you that.
Well, hey, neither could the boss, so it's all good.
Yeah. Bosworth, the greatest middle linebacker who was put in his place.
Would have been an amazing professional wrestler. The guy had the gimmick already, man. He was the boss.
Oh, yeah.
He would have had great mic skills. He was huge because he was a middle linebacker. Seriously, it's like, what, 90? Well, no, it's like the 80s. Yeah, it is the 80s. What is
90
it? 90
was his last year.
Yeah, 90 was his last year. He would have fit right in. He would have did just fine.
Okay,
should have been Bam Bam versus freaking the Boss. Bam Bam the Boss.
Bam Bam and Boss said LT.
Yeah.
Can you imagine the hair with hair versus hair match, Sting versus the Boz?
They had a similar deal going on. The bleach blonde hair.
Loser gets the tail chopped off.
Oh, no.
I'm going to grab something. I'm going to give you guys something to chew on right here. Greatest, in your opinion, crossover into wrestling. Like, the guys who came up in wrestling, but then the guys who started off in other areas, like whether. And I'm not talking about like acting and then do a wrestling match once or twice, David Arquette. I'm talking about like greatest like athlete crossing over into wrestling. Probably most likely to be football. You look at the guys like, the Rock, Luger, Brian Pillman,
Goldberg, JBL. Farouk, Hall of Famer, college football famer.
Yep. Vader, Super Bowl champion.
Dusty Rhodes,
Wahoo McDaniel, Steve
How
Austin.
are we forgetting, fresh out of the you already know, Dwayne The Rock Johnson?
Very true. And
Stone Cold.
Yep,
Stone Cold was a star running back.
North Texas, undersized defensive end, coming in at a whopping 215 pounds as a defensive end. He said he wasn't smart enough as a linebacker. But yeah, once you get
what?
But what do you guys think? Give your opinion of the greatest crossover football player to go into wrestling. I mean, it's tough. You look, Ron Simp. They don't necessarily have to be the greatest football player, but maybe the greatest at both.
Former All-American, Florida State.
Yeah.
World heavyweight champion, first African American man to hold the big gold belt. It's Ron Simmons.
Oh, absolutely.
Damn. Who else you got? An All-American and a former world heavyweight champion. I can't top that. You can top it.
Well, I'm gonna try because I'm gonna stick with the same era, and I'm gonna mention the man. I'm pretty sure that took the belt from him. I'm not sure. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but the big man himself. It's Tom. It's Tom. It's Vader Tom.
That is really that's like comparing two giant beasts because they were both equally, on par wrestling-wise. They're both world champions. One was arguably one of the best, football players at his school. And if Vader's career wasn't cut short, they said, like, by all accounts, he would have been a Hall of Fame center. Like, he was a really, really good lineman for the champion Los Angeles Rams at the time. And, like I said, a white guy coming out of Watts, California. I would.
Bad mother.
At that size.
Yeah, they said when he first started wrestling, he was over 400 pounds.
Oh my God!
Man,
And it's not like he was a fat slob. Like his upper body is just like so massive. Like I would love to know how much that dude shoulder presses and bench presses.
Sure, yeah.
Seriously.
Um,
Let me get one more on Farouk. Number 8 in the 1983 Heisman vote. Number 8.
yeah, yep, and it wasn't he the first. I don't know, something like wasn't he the first defensive player to ever have his jersey retired from Florida State?
Yep, number 43.
Wow,
Yes,
I didn't
sir.
know that. We're forgetting actually. We forgot two guys that I'd like to mention. One, not a WWE guy, but former Buffalo Bill, Monty Brown. And former Cincinnati Bengal, and I think he was on the Bills practicing squad, flying Brian Pillman.
Yeah.
Well, here's a list. Here's a list of some guys. Some of this stuff is stupid, but superstar Billy Graham. He tried out for the Raiders and the Oilers. He did play 5 games for the Montreal Alouettes. Brock Lesnar, he went from wrestling to almost making the NFL with never playing college football, so I'm going to give it up.
It being too temperamental.
Yeah, got in that fight.
Jim Campbell Neidhart. He had brief stints with the Cowboys and the Raiders.
Sure, he was a rough-nosed guy.
Yeah. That dude might have had the smelliest jockstrap of all time. He just looks like he's a stinky bastard. But man, does he make a good-looking offspring.
Oh, and a fun promo to watch.
Yeah. Fritz von Erich had a short time with the Dallas Texans, who became the Kansas City Chiefs. Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
Oh,
Really?
Hacksaw Jim Duggan was actually he was a really good football player.
He played for the Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah, he was what position did he play?
It doesn't say in here.
he a linebacker.
Probably, I'd say like a linebacker or a guard. He looks like
I'm guessing.
Looks like Jim Richter. Ron Simmons, stellar career at Florida State. He was drafted in the 6th round by the Cleveland Browns. He had a short-lived short-lived NFL. It was the Browns too. So
yeah.
At the time, though, I mean,
they still sucked.
I guess, yeah, it's the Browns.
Name one Cleveland Brown from 1981. Okay, and on to the next
Charlie
segment.
Fry's dad. Quarterback.
Okay, name another one, smartass. But okay, Ron Simmons was for a short time was in the NFL and the USFL. Let's see, Lawrence Taylor, Brock Nagurski. What? Get out of here! You know, fullback Bronco Nagurski, shown here as a member of the 1943 Chicago Bears, was a charter member of the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 1963. He retired from the gridiron in the middle of his career and won the NWA World Heavyweight Championship, beating Lou Thez his first time out. Before returning to the NFL. So he was the inaugural NFL Hall of Fame class and a 2-time NWA World Heavyweight Champion, beating Lou Thez in the middle of his football career.
He was a well-known football player, too.
I can't even... Well-known. Oof.
Doesn't they still have...
Yeah, I mean, he's a very well-known and celebrated.
He's also a linebacker too, because isn't the don't they have one of the college trophies? Isn't it the
Bronco? Yeah,
Nagurski is for linebacker. College.
Yeah. Linebacker. Okay, yeah. So yeah, he was a 2-way football player and NWA World Heavyweight Champion.
Wow. Jesus, wow.
right now, unless I see Brian Pillman winning the WWF and WCW title, I'm starting to think that Bronco Nagurski may be the best ever in both. Literally.
Yeah,
Oh, we also
yeah.
have,
If it wasn't for The Rock
yeah.
falling off in his last few years, and I don't know what if Ron Simmons would have had a better NFL career, then I guess that's who it's got to fall to there.
Oh,
I
there's
agree.
another one we're missing. Big Cat Ernie Ladd is the only person to be in the AFL Hall of Fame and the
Oh
WWE.
yeah,
Lad
yeah,
Hall of
yeah.
Fame.
Now, are we? I mean, are we just talking football, or are we talking different sports? Because don't forget, Kevin Nash was a star basketball player.
College
Tennessee.
basketball doesn't count because anybody over 6'7" plays college basketball.
Well, I guess you got a point because Big Show was a college basketball player too. But
That's where the knees started.
that is, yeah. I mean, he was a center. You know, he wasn't a bad center.
Tennessee Volunteers? You're not a bad center. You're playing
Yeah.
Tennessee.
Oh, wow. Cowboy Bill Watts.
Ooh, here.
He gave up on football in the 60s when the Minnesota Vikings wouldn't let him wrestle in the offseason. So,
Wow, that's dedication.
Hey, Dusty Rhodes
Okay.
got a call from the Dolphins and said, "I'm a wrestler and I no longer play football."
Yeah. Oh, right here. He went into wrestling full time. This is Bill Watts. He went into wrestling full time, and is best known as the heavy-handed but successful promoter of Mid-South Wrestling, later known as Universal Wrestling. So it was Mid-South, then it turned into UWF, and it was UWF when Jim Ross was there. That was the later on. Ahmed Johnson, Pearl River Plunge. He had a short stint with the Dallas Cowboys. Darren Drozdoff, how could we forget? Played for the Denver Broncos as a defensive tackle, which is weird. He wasn't the biggest wrestler, but he was a defensive tackle.
Yeah, I mean, you get under him.
Let's see. Okay, Roman Reigns. Tito Santana, I forgot. Yeah, he won a Grey Cup, I think, in the CFL.
Was Roman Texas A&M?
He was
I
a
just
Viking.
was looking this up college-wise. I couldn't figure it out.
Oh, he spent time with the Vikings and the Jaguars.
Do you got college?
Yeah, I forgot where'd he go. Georgia, I think.
Georgia, some down there. I couldn't
The
figure out
Usos
there.
were there too, right? Or was that just high school?
I think that was just high school.
Yeah.
Oh, Monty Brown, and they got him in his Bills jersey right here.
Yes, sir.
Number 96. Monty Brown of the Bills celebrated his team's 30-13 AFC Championship win over the Chiefs in '94. Brown joined a select fraternity to both play in the Super Bowl and compete in WrestleMania as Marcus Corban. Yeah, wow. And he lost both. And then Vader, before Vader was Big Van Vader, he was Leon White, a third-round pick by the Los Angeles Rams in 1970.
Third, damn.
I just want you to think next time you look at Monty Brown, think he played with Jim Kelly and Thurman Thomas and Bruce Smith and Ken Hall and everybody on the glory teams from the Bills glory team from the 90s.
And he teamed up with the Pope.
The Pope, yes, sir.
Oh, we're forgetting somebody.
Arn?
Steve Mongo McMichaels.
Steve Mongo McMichaels, yeah.
Super Bowl shuffle, damn.
Hey, does LT count?
LT counts.
LT is on this list. Brian Pillman is on this list. He played.
He was a Bengal.
Yeah, he was a special teams player for the Bengals. Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure he was on the practice squad of the Bills.
Yeah, that he was. Oh, Kevin Green. I forgot Kevin Green.
He tagged with Mongo
Yep.
to face Ric Flair and Arn. Was that it?
Yeah. As you teamed with Ric Flair and Roddy Piper to beat the New World Order at Slamboree pay-per-view in Charlotte, North Carolina.
You have to watch that one.
Adam Pac-Man Jones.
That does not
That was
count,
a
and that's a disgrace that's even on that list. Former tag team champion, my ass.
Well, you know what? Mongo McMichaels was a 4 horseman. I mean, with Pepper.
I'll tell you what. I like Mongo more than shit. Now I'm not gonna remember his name.
Yeah, something. Describe.
He's the worst horseman of all time. He was in
man,
Power and Glory. Was that
Paul
it?
Roma. Pretty Paul Roma.
Paul Roma. That is the worst. I'll take Mongo over Paul Roma any day as a horseman.
Damn, that says a lot. Oh, Paul Orndorff from the other half of Pretty Wonderful. With Paul Roma. Paul Orndorff was drafted in the 12th round in the 1973 NFL draft by the New Orleans Saints, but didn't stick around long in the NFL. It's fair to say his Mr. Wonderful gimmick earned him high praises. Verne Gagne. Oh, okay. Oh, damn. He was drafted in the 14th round in the 1947 NFL draft to the Chicago Bears, but opted for pro wrestling. Yep.
Could you imagine someone in the draft tomorrow, first round on ESPN? I'd rather pro wrestle. Go at this stage. I'm going to retire today. I'm going to hit the ring.
Vince McMahon got a hold of me and.
Oh, hold on. I got another one. Chief Wahoo McDaniel.
Wahoo.
Played 9 years in the in AFL and NFL with the Jets, Oilers, Broncos, and Dolphins, and won on Super Bowl III with the Jets, and then went on.
And that's a notable professional wrestler too.
Big tag team champion. Yeah, big guy. Bob Sapp played. Wow. Yeah. Okay. Fuck him.
Yeah, I can't believe you even just said Bob Sapp. I don't know, went right past that.
Played for the Vikings. He was an offensive guard. JBL once signed an undrafted free agent contract with the Raiders.
Bob Sapp also played for. He played for the Mean Machine.
Lex Luger spent a short time with the Green Bay Packers.
Luger.
Yeah. Lex Luger was a football player too.
Yeah, and that
Macho Man was a baseball player.
Yep. Oh yeah, catcher for the St. Louis Rams.
And Hulk Hogan was a bass player.
The best promo that I've seen in recent times. It was the Macho Man. I think was the Intercontinental Champion, or maybe it had to be the IC title. He was being interviewed by Gorilla Monsoon with some other guy, one of the WWF officials. He had the blue blazer and it had the red and gold WWF shield on it. And the funniest exchange, one of the funniest exchanges I've seen with Gorilla Monsoon, not with Bobby Heenan. He's holding God damn, I wish I could play it on this, but you get kicked for playing YouTube videos. Or I got another idea. Play it through my phone. He's holding 3 fingers up, or he's holding 1 finger up, and he said something like 3. And he goes, yeah, but I know I got 1 finger, but I can count. And at the end, Gorilla Monsoon goes, why don't you get out of here? And Macho Man spins around and goes, okay, and he just takes off. One of the funniest exchanges I've ever seen. It was just, I gotta play that before we get going here. Monsoon and Randy Savage. I don't know if it's gonna play well. Okay. Here it is. Let's see. Hold on. Okay. Let me know if you guys can hear this. I'll turn this up as much as I can for you.
Along with Kenny Resnick.
It's coming through clear.
Good.
I think you bit off a little bit more than. Oh, is it all right? Did you go to Atlantic City? Did you go to Atlantic City? Did you place your bet down? How about Las Vegas? Go to Las Vegas. is, huh?
I
Frequent flyer, yeah. Guess what? Oh, yeah. Oh, and all the people.
How many friends do you think you'll have around that ring?
Probably none. You're right. Because when you're great like I am, you got a lot of jealousy, right? Envy, right? Announcer with the red tie, man. What do you got, a red tie behind a black tie?
This is why you stole the title right here in the Boston Garden. It's only fitting that you should give it up here.
Wow, man, you wear something out. When you get a point, man, you just wear it
Let
out.
me ask you this.
Ask me another
Champion.
question.
Let me ask you this.
Me,
Do you have a senior prom coming up or something on March 29th, the night of WrestleMania in the Silverdome, Pontiac, Michigan? I don't see a contract anywhere with your name on it.
The lumberjack match has been boggling.
No, we're not talking about lumberjack.
We're not talking about that. WrestleMania 3. Yeah, I can count. I got one finger up, but I know it's 3. Yeah. Guess what? You're seeing, but you're not observing. Yeah, you're looking at the greatest right now. Isn't that something? Yeah. Smile. Crack a smile. Guess what? Who's gonna...
Point blank, Randy Savage. Ricky Steamboat, open contract signed for WrestleMania 3.
Yes, an open contract.
Open contract type of a thing.
You won't sign it.
Guess what happened on national TV when he was the #1 contender?
We'll be back in just a moment. Plenty of action still to come here. Take a hike.
There's some good drugs in the 80s.
But he's like, take a hike, and he's like, okay. But it's awesome because when that guy Kenny Powers starts talking, Macho Man turns away from the microphone and yells. He goes, "Who hired this guy?" It's the best. If you just put in Gorilla Monsoon and Randy Savage, it's a minute and a half long. I watched that about 4 or 5 times in a row, and he's like, WrestleMania 3, yeah, and he's got the one pinky up, and it's crooked. He goes, I got one finger up, but I can count 1, 2, 3, yeah, and he's just like the little nuances of Macho Man talking.
Like that's what's great about Macho Man is he does everything that you're not supposed to do in a promo, like turn your back to a promo, turn your back to the camera, move around a lot. Like he does everything opposite, but he makes it look perfect. It's so unorthodox.
And what's even better, Gorilla Monsoon's playing the straight guy, trying to ask him a question, and Macho Man is commenting on what color the layers of his tie are. Has nothing to do with anything that's being talking about or what's going on, but it's just for whatever reason the colors of the ties that these men were wearing in front of the Macho Man became part of the conversation for some strange reason. And but just the best when Gorilla Monsoon goes take a hike and Macho Man just beeline right out the door. He goes okay, and dude just takes up like here's a badass intimidating IC champion, and he's like okay, and he's listening to the announcer. That's what the guy was so strange, but freaking entertaining. But we're not going to do the history mark of the week because we talked about history enough. But before we go, got a few minutes left here. Daniel Bryan looks like he missed Extreme Rules. Looking like he's going to miss Payback. What do you think do you think he has a future in the ring?
I mean, maybe it was too soon. Honestly, maybe it was just too soon.
Yeah,
I mean, if the man if he needs more time, then that's what they need to give him. You can't force yourself to jump in the ring with a neck injury. It just doesn't work that way. It's not like he sprained his ankle or he freaking popped his So it's not like he dislocated his middle finger. I mean, the guy, he has a serious neck injury, and it takes time, and maybe it was just too soon. I hope not. I hope he's going to be back and better than ever sooner than later just because I'm such a fan, and I want to watch him, be his best. I feel like we haven't seen him at his best yet, even though he's done amazing work. I feel like we could see a lot more.
I think the one thing he does have to the one move he has to stop is that running knee in the corner when he does the flying goat, and he lands on his shoulders and neck every time. It's like you need to stop that. The dude definitely needs to stop doing that. As entertaining as it is, I think he needs to stop doing that. Listen, when you come back from a messed up neck. Multiple headbutts should not be in your repertoire. and the suicide dive through the second rope. I think he should stop those three. Now, you look at Steve Austin, he messed up his neck pretty bad. He came back. Different style completely.
Kurt Angle.
Yep, Kurt Angle. If you watch Stunning Steve Austin with the Hollywood Blondes, then you watch Stone Cold Steve Austin wrestle in 1999.
Two completely different guys.
Two completely different styles. Not even just the gimmick, but just the style. Like Hulk Hogan.
Both good though. Both good.
When Hulk Hogan went from All American to NWO, he had the same style. So you can have the same style with having different gimmicks. Steve Austin, out of necessity, needed to change his style, and it worked perfectly for his gimmick. I think if Daniel Bryan did something just like he did, like he became like a chain wrestler, a grappler, I think would go perfect. He don't get rid of all the flying and just make yourself like the next,
And he can, because he has that technical style.
Make him like the next Dean Malenko, where he doesn't even need to use the same hold twice or the same move twice.
Or like Bret Hart.
Yeah, to beat you. I think it'll work. But before we go, King of the Ring tournament. Did you even care?
I wanted to. I really did want to. But they put no effort into it. How am I going to watch something and care about something that hasn't had any build into it?
To quote the great Mike on this one, he said Neville is going to be the next generation. And it's very unfortunate that, he lost the other night.
But I like Wade Barrett, so.
Yeah, it worked out.
I do. I like Wade Barrett a lot. It's just too bad. I don't know what he can talk.
Heel always wins. Heel always wins the King of the Ring.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. You look at him. The guy. If you compare him when he was NXT Nexus Wade Barrett with the trench coat and the rose, to now, complete body transformation. The dude is just jacked up, jacked to hell. He's tall. He's big. He can talk. He's got some good moves. I don't know why he's not ever in consideration for World Heavyweight Champion.
Injury prone. I mean, that's easy. He gets hurt a lot.
Yeah.
Wait, you want to? Let's go off the list of injury prone guys that world champions. Triple H.
Daniel Bryan.
The Undertaker. I'm not taking anything away from any of those guys. They did a lot, but I think you can. Dolph Ziggler, he's another guy. Wade Barrett and Dolph Ziggler could easily be done right. Could be in a program for the world title.
Oh, I agree, but it's almost like Barrett gets that push. He's getting up there. He gets up there. He gets up there. And he'll win the IC title, and he'll break his arm, or he'll dislocate his elbow, or something awful happens. Which I don't want to have. I mean, I'm not saying that it's a good thing. It's not something I'm cheering to happen. I want the guy to be world champ. I want Dolph Ziggler to be world champ. Dolph Ziggler's style is wild. The way he sells, he puts his all into it. He wants it to look so realistic, and it's easier to get hurt that way. Same as Billy Gunn back in the day.
Yeah. What was I going to say? And there's nothing wrong with being a career IC, title holder. I think some guys have made a legacy off of it. Shit, if Coco Beware can be in the Hall of Fame, then there's nothing to be upset about, for winning multiple IC championships. So. But are we ever going to see your tag team partner again?
It's the guy's been on the show 1 out of 3, like 1 out of 4 weeks, and that's not so dedicated, and I'm not having it. I'm the real Mr. Dedicated from here on out, And
Oh.
I'm dedicated, motherfucker, and I'll see you next week.
What? You what? What are you doing? What's he doing? Oh.
He just laid things out. And I think we're gonna end it on that. You, my friend, got a mess to clean up over there. I think you got some Mr. Dedicated brains on your shirt.
Yeah. Well, we're off here, Joe.
Yeah. Before we go, what do you? Any suggestions? Just step over the body. What do you suggest the fans out there watch on the WWE Network over the next week?
An ice pack.
An ice pack, yeah. And you know what? And from what I just witnessed, I'm gonna go watch Sid breaking his leg.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Joe. He's coming too now, but God. Whew. Oh. Hey, buddy.
What happened?
What happened? Oh, God.
For all of you just listening and not watching, somebody may or may not have been laid out for talking smack about his former tag team partner. I just think we witnessed the barbershop. Somebody just got super kicked through a damn window.
Silent J. What the hell was that?
You gonna take that?
Was I just assaulted? Was that Mr. Dedicated?
Yeah, you were. Mr. Dedicated just laid you out.
He's gonna pay for it. I'll assure that Mr. Dedicated, I'm pressing charges and I'm gonna have him arrested.
God.
Oh man, I would. My face hurts watching that. But on behalf of Ripped Flesh and the dangerous trio that we got over there in the Red Room of Hell, I am Silent J, and you guys, why don't you guys give yourself a good outro?
That 90s guy is shocked, but anything can happen here. I'm not too sure.
I'm sticking to what I said. I'm the real Mr. Dedicated. We'll see you next week. Ow! He's gonna pay.
And I am Silent J. This is MPW Military Press Wrestling next week, boys and girls. I think there might be some repercussions. I don't know about you. Ooh, yeah!
Going down. Son of a bitch.
Right, Frober.